Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about what is quantitative finance and how you can pursue a career in quantitative finance. Quantitative finance is otherwise known as financial engineering. It is not a branch of engineering, so to say, but people call it financial engineering as well for a variety of reasons, although it is not a branch of the core engineering. So it is not to be confused with electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. So you don't learn financial engineering in engineering school. Rather, you learn it in finance schools or management schools or economics departments of different schools. So it's a multidisciplinary area. So a number of schools are involved. Okay, so what is quantitative finance or financial engineering? Well, it is an academic area which involves mathematical, statistical, computational techniques to solve problems in finance. So problems in finance can be solved in a variety of ways, and people from different branches of science solve problems in finance. And when it comes to using quantitative techniques from mathematics, statistics, and computer science, and the way you approach the problems in finance using such techniques is known as quantitative finance. And it's very multidisciplinary in nature. It's difficult to define what is quantitative finance and what is not, because a lot of techniques are derived from non-financial academic areas like maths, physics, statistics, and computer science. So a lot of people with a good background of computer science, physics, applied math, statistics, or econometrics normally work in quantitative finance, or people from these backgrounds normally go in for a career in quantitative finance given their skill sets in their respective fields. And many a time it is not just a one person job. It is people from different background combined together. They solve a problem with different approaches and different skill sets put together. So in order to start a career in quantitative finance, one need at least a graduate degree in quantitative disciplines like physics, math, computer science, statistics, or engineering. And it's always good to have a master's and PhD in particular, because most of the quant jobs in Wall Street or in most of these financial centers like New York or London or Hong Kong, um, you will find the job description in many of the job sites asking for a PhD degree in physics. You will find a lot of statistical physicists, theoretical physicists working as quant in Wall Street. Maths PhD also do work. Computer science PhD uh, also work as quant. The next important thing to have is interest in finance. Even though as a beginner or as a fresher, one would not be expected to have a knowledge on different financial assets or financial theories, but interest in such area is important, because a lot of the people from physics maths background, they do not quite have an interest in finance or economics, but it's important to have some interest. Otherwise, you probably won't succeed. There are different career options available in quantitative finance. The one is quantitative researcher, which is more research oriented profile, which requires a background in physics, electrical engineering, applied maths, computer science, statistics, econometrics, operation research, such areas. Highly quantitative, which deals with very data and algorithms in a computation. So these are disciplines which involve a lot of computation and use of data, and that's why people from these backgrounds are preferred. The initial career path would be, you would be working as a algorithmic developer for high frequency trading. You could be working for hedge fund with working on researching on the investment strategy. You could be working as a researcher pricing products, different financial products. So these are the work profile that you would be getting. So you'd be primarily working on pricing complex derivative, writing research reports, which will go to the front office people, and they're going to use your findings or your algorithms in executing trades um, or sort of pricing assets and knowing the value and so on. Quantitative developer, so this is another type of career options that one can have within quantitative finance. So it doesn't involve a lot of quantitative research, so to say, but one should have reasonable understanding of the quant algorithms or quantitative finance. However, people who are very good at software programming, people who are purely as developer, they're star developer, and very good understanding of computer science, and somewhat okay understanding of quant finance, can choose a career as a quantitative developer. Now, these are software developers, so to say, who do not develop the quantitative finance algorithms, or they do not price the financial products. They rather use the models developed by quantitative researcher or quantitative analyst to implement them in production. So that's what these people do. They also work on providing data, and building systems, front end systems, and back end systems for the end users. So basically, they implement models. Okay, these are the model implementers, and you call them as quantitative developers. Okay, so the role would involve maintaining or writing very robust code which can well be used in the production setup, and you also have to do sort of develop applications which can well be used by people in the different departments. The third type of career options is the quantitative risk management profile. Now, this is a profile which is somewhat similar to quantitative researcher, except the fact that this would not require that level of maths background what you probably would expect in the quantitative research. So people from economic statistics background and people need not having a PhD degree, a MSc or MA degree is sufficient for such roles. So such people normally do not work with front end, the front office, people. They rather work in risk department within the bank, and they not just deal with financial market products. They also deal with the retail products like credit card, mortgage, and such products. And they also sort of build models. They're people who build models, just that these models probably are not that as rigorous as the quantitative models developed by the quantitative researcher. So they work in the risk analytics and risk management departments. They build models for regulatory reporting, for credit approval, risk scorecard models. So they deal with different aspects of financial risk like credit risk, market risk, operational risk, and ALM risk. You might have heard about the Basel. So Basel has got the international, which is an international regulatory regulations by the BCBS, which has set forth different risk reports to be produced by each of these banks, and people from quantitative risk management department build models which are then used for reporting the for doing the regulatory reporting. Okay, and also for internal risk management, these models are also used. Okay, so in order to have a career in quantitative risk management as opposed to quantitative researcher, as I've said, these are loosely defined. I know people who are from economics background with a PhD economics working as a quant, and I also know people with a PhD computer science. they work in quantitative risk management. Okay, so these are very loosely defined professional areas, but one thing that set them apart, or the complete difference, is that in quantitative research you would always find people who are PhDs with very high level of maths caliber, which is somewhat not a very strict criteria in quantitative risk management departments. And you probably have to write professional exams like FRM, sorry, FRM, financial risk management, or PRM, professional risk management, or CFA, chartered financial analyst. So these professional exams would help you greatly. You can also write actuarial papers from the actuarial society of your respective country, and you can get into this field. The next type of people are known as traders, and I'm sure most of us have heard about traders. They're very popular professionals within the banking and financial industry, and they're also there are many movies, Hollywood movies, where you will come across cases where traders have been depicted uh, for some of these characters. So these are people who execute, they do trades, they work with the different clients, and they are the people known as they are the proper front office people in a market department of a bank, or a financial institution. These people come with a background in maths, finance, engineering, statistics, economics. Um, and the career path could be agency trader, proprietary trader, security analyst, trading strategist, and so on. The role is basically executing orders for the clients, invest firms' money, make trading decisions, analyze securities, and decide what to trade, what not to trade, how much to trade, and sort of coming up with strategy for different trade executions. Yes. So in order to start, as a career in trading, there are different criteria. In fact, it's one of the toughest area to get into, and there is it doesn't require a lot of education, but it requires a lot of really good experience. And people from varied backgrounds get into this profession. You will find school dropouts, college dropouts, to even PhD, double PhD, with postdoctoral qualification, and in fact, people who have long career in research and teaching. Those who are professors in different universities, they also work as traders many times. So this is one fancy profession within the finance industry. This is the job description of quantitative analyst for DSAW, which is a quantitative trading company in US, and it's known for its in quantitative research, and it only hires people. I would say it hires people with high quantitative caliber, people from maths, physics, engineering background. You can see, and they actually want people who are highly successful. They want people with international maths Olympiad, and there's really high profile mathematics or computer science. International competitions. If you have won and you have high caliber in these areas, they are ready to hire you and pay you very highly. So this is what they want. They want high or in-depth knowledge of maths and statistics, and they also need you to write a really good program. So if these two skills you have, and you may not be from finance, but if you have these two skills in you, you can start a career as a quantitative researcher. And then the quant developer profile. Quant developer profile, as we have discussed previously, it is more of a programmer profile, and the popular programming languages are C++, C#, Java, Python. and of course SQL for data extraction, and also there are some BI tools which also you need to do, and sometimes you also need to be good at .NET for front-end development. Python is also of course can be used for front-end as well. All right, and you should have some certain level of interest in finance, and you need not have a PhD. If you have a undergrad degree, a BS degree is enough to get into quant developer file. Only thing that is very important is you should be a really good programmer, and it's good to have a finance degree. So those of you who are already really good programmers but have no idea what finance is all about, it's always good to have an FRM. Is very it's reasonably easy to clear FRM. Just understand bit of finance. It always helps to get into this lucrative field. Then quantitative developer. This is Tower Research. It's popular quant trading company again. They have this profile for quant developers. They want people with really good C++ coding skills. Yeah, so you should have knowledge of Python. You should be really good at shell scripting and so on. So it's purely it's purely a software developer job. Okay, and people from computer science, maths, physics background are preferred. Then risk management profiles, and this is a profile by Citibank, where in the job description they want someone with MA, MSc in economics statistics. PhD is always preferred again. If you have PhD, that is an additional weight, or with an MBA finance, and then good knowledge of econometric models like regression, logistic regression, time series, and panel data models. Experience of model development or validation, such as the credit risk models like PD, LGD, EAD, economic capital loss forecasting models, market risk models like value at risk, stressed value at risk, and should have reasonable knowledge of regulations, financial regulations like Basel, and then financial reporting IFRS, and should be good with statistical softwares like SAS, R, SPSS, MATLAB, SQL, of course. Yeah. So what are the topics that you need to learn in order to be in one of these professions, depending on your area of interest? If you're already a PhD, I highly recommend you to enter into the profession known as quantitative researchers, because that's where your demand will be very high and the pays are also much better than the other two profiles. So you should start with probability and statistics, be good with regression modelings, time series analysis like ARIMA, ARCH, GARCH, numerical analysis with all the numerical methods of computing, and then stochastic process, Brownian motion, Ito's lemma, linear algebra, partial differential equation, and then in the Markov models, Monte Carlo simulations, very one of the most important thing in pricing, financial products. Machine learning is getting a lot of attention nowadays, and it is no surprise that quantitative finance people are also using machine learning nowadays a lot. Although it was not something very, something that was not very popular within the quant finance community, but it's slowly getting a lot of attention. Programming would be C++ has been one of the most popular quant finance library development language. Python more recently is being used quite heavily by almost all banks nowadays. MATLAB has been for long in numerical computing. So R is the most popular statistical programming language on the planet. So there is no surprise that it is one of the important skills to have. Excel, VBA, I think we all know how important Excel and VBA are for any analysis, not just for, and a lot of these models are also on Excel. So this is also important. Data extraction for SQL is important. DBMS understanding is also important, because especially for quantitative developers, DBMS is quite important. Having knowledge of different software engineering concepts like agile, waterfall is also important. Among the concepts in finance, you should have a reasonable understanding of what corporate finance are, what is governance, and how people they how what is equity, what is debt, how is the corporate governance happens, what are the basics of corporate finance, right? If you read any of this basic book on corporate finance, you'll get to know the different aspects of corporate finance. And fixed income securities, what this the bond, and how to price them. Derivatives are very important because these are some of these um, important products used in financial industry, and how to price them. And that's what most quant people do. Actuarial modeling is also, having an exposure is always good to have. Portfolio management, risk management, especially for quant risk people, it's always good to know the basics of risk management and regulations.